whether or not to take up the lower house and their overwhelming vote to impeach President Dilma Rousseff for allegedly breaking budget rules. If the Senate does, as it is expected, then Rousseff will be suspended for up to 180 days while a political trial takes place. She herself is going down fighting. She won't resign. She has over and over again insisted, as she did to me, that she's a victim of a coup, and a president can only be kicked out at the polls.
I wish to tell you one thing more than just thinking that I will survive. I will fight to survive. Not just for my term in office, but I will fight because what I am advocating and defending is the democratic principle that governs political life in Brazil.
Well, right now, Brazil is in the midst of a major political crisis, and it couldn't come at a worse time because the country is suffering a major economic crisis as well. A slowdown as well as battling the Zika virus and preparing to welcome hundreds of thousands of Olympic athletes and spectators to the Summer Games in Rio. The former Brazilian president, Fernando Henrique Cardoso, joins me from São Paulo to discuss this. Mr. President, welcome to the show. We have these live pictures. It's happening right now in Brasilia. What is your prediction? Is the Senate going to vote to impeach her?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you very much for having me here today. As you know, the Congress, the Senate is still working. We have not yet the final result, but probably the decision will be to continue to proceed with the impeachment process vis-à-vis President Dilma Rousseff. I don't know to what extent you know about the steps necessary to perform, to accomplish an impeachment process. Do you know?
I do. She will be suspended if they make this vote, and then there'll be a political trial, and then we'll see what her fate is. But I want to ask you why you support this, because you didn't support the impeachment at the beginning. You've only recently come to the impeachment side of the debate.
Yes. Okay. I was reluctant at the beginning because I know how hard is the process of impeachment. I remember I was in Senate when President Collor was impeached. At the time, our preoccupation was because it would be possible for the military to back again be controlling Brazil. Now it's different. Brazil is a sound democracy. There is even a much more mature separation of the government and the state. The judicial system, federal police, the fiscals, etc., are acting independently. So I was reluctant because of the reasons. Anyhow, I have to take into account that the incumbent has received millions of votes and the impeachment will stop the mandate. So it's difficult for anyone to accept that idea. Anyhow, the Constitution is very clear. If there are clear non-fulfillment of constitutional provisions and simultaneously the political basis is lacking for a president, then it is the case to discuss the impeachment.
Well,
so the House of Representatives has to say that.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know what you're saying. But the president says to me that actually, why is she being targeted? Because many administrations, including your own, did these kind of creative budget accounting. Let me play you what she said to me about this.
It has nothing to do with the previous electoral process, nor it has to do with cooking or fiddling the books or accounts. It does have to do with something that has always been current, ongoing practice in Brazil by all administrations prior to mine, even term in office to 2011, 12, and 13. That was acceptable practice. It was also regular, ordinary practice under the Lula da Silva, and the administration also under the previous Cardoso administrations. So, if then it was not a crime, why is it an impeachable offense today?
So she has a point. If it wasn't a crime then, why is it a crime today?
Well, because in the past it was not a crime. The fiscal responsibility law was done by my government in the year 2000. So I had only 2 years under the law. And in spite of that, I never made in continuity the kind of coverage, the kind of, disguising of data to the nation. And what has been done by President Rousseff was during several months and even years, in a very high amount of money, 60 billion reais, that is to say around $25 billion, in order not to show to the public opinion the fiscal difficulties in her government. So this is what was against what is said by the Constitution. And in order to continue to expend money, she wrote several decrees without the authorization by Congress. So it's quite different from what I did and President Lula. We proceeded in a very different way. So there is a clear case of impeachment. If you read by reading the Constitution, it's obvious that this is against the Constitution.
So what happens next, Mr. President? Michel Temer is likely to take over as acting president and live out this term. But obviously the economy is in really bad shape and investors need confidence. Is Brazil in the kind of a state to even, attract investors and bring the economy out of the doldrums, out of its hole?
Well, the point, I don't know if I got correctly what you said, but the point of confidence in Brazil came from the fact that there is an enormous amount of corruption, not just inside government, but sustained by people in government. So this is serious, and this is affecting the markets, and more important than that, is affecting the sentiment by people in the sense that people don't trust anymore in political system, political life. So is this a serious situation? How to regain confidence? That's the case. Since the President Rousseff was not able to regain confidence, she never was able to address to the nation, to explain clearly the difficulties, including why was she proceeding the way she was. So this increasing the lack of confidence. So now, for an eventual new government, the first question is to regain confidence inside Brazil, inside people, and then the market, and then the whole world. But that's the key question in Brazil, the lack of confidence. In nowadays, there is no more confidence in President Dilma Rousseff as well as in the political system. To me, it's a more profound crisis than just the case of President Rousseff. Is the crisis of the political system in Brazil.
On that note, President Cardoso, thank you very much for joining me as this Senate debate and this vote is still underway. Thanks so much.